How we doing?
All right, welcome everybody. You are in episodio 4 de Los Lingoholics, the Lingoholics podcast. Still working on my intro for episodes in, but no big deal. So once again, me llamo Ian, Menezvate Ian, and today the boys are back together under the same roof. We are here in La Casa de Colo, and he just made us an awesome supper to get us all fired up for this podcast. And really, the deal with this podcast, it's all about me and Cody and I. We have been prepping a long time. Actually, not that long. We'll talk about when we started this. But without further ado, yes, this is just about getting ready for Friday when our Korean battle, our Korean linguistic swords are going to strike against each other, and we got a judge. We'll talk about who that judge is because Kodo, you lined that up for us. But yeah, I've said Kodo's names because he's going to be my partner in battle, who I'm staring across enemy lines at with this. So, Kodo, bienvenido. Tu casa es mi casa.
No, it's not, man. You're my sworn enemy.
Yeah.
How can mi casa be su casa when
¿Qué pasa, güey?
when we're going to be facing each other on the field of battle?
I'm an underground spy right now, though.
Oh.
I just saw on your fridge you've got some phrases, so okay.
You copying those down? You stealing those
yeah,
from
me?
me?
Of course. I took a picture. You sent me a picture.
Yeah, I know.
Lots of strategies, so... What's up, though, man? How you feeling?
Yeah, dude, I'm good. We got North Korea here. We got South
Yes,
Korea.
and
We got the flags
the
here.
YouTube viewers, for some props, we got, both Koreas represented.
One Korea.
One Korea overall.
It should be one Korea. Let's get real here.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna cause reunification right here, right now, but we're gonna. Who knows?
So,
Markus.
sorry guys, I'm just gonna go ahead and pause you real quick. So, Cody, could you get a little closer to the microphone, please?
Oh, yeah,
Because I'm just
sure.
listening to
Come
the
on
quality
in.
here, the
Come
feedback
on
in my.
Come on in.
Yeah, no worries.
Join the fun. Join the fun.
So, I'm not gonna be a part of the Korean War. So
No, but
I'm not gonna, which is fine.
You're going to be an impartial observer.
I'm gonna be an impartial observer.
Every war has war journalists there.
Press. I should have like a shirt that says press.
You
on
should
it.
have press.
Oh my
Or
god.
like a helmet. I'll
absolutely.
put on my helmet.
Someone needs to be neutral.
But what I was gonna say is that I'm sort of gonna be representing the viewer here, the viewer that doesn't speak Korean.
Correct.
That's right, yeah.
And I'm gonna come prepared with a bunch of questions and whatnot. So I think it's gonna be good. I'm prepping for this too, just not with a Korean, not the linguistic preparation that you guys are going through right now.
You don't have the pressure that we do.
I don't have the same pressure, which
Yeah.
is nice. I'm not gonna lie, it's nice. I'm enjoying this right now, and I'm pumped.
Watching
I
from
think
the
it's gonna be,
sidelines.
yes, I'm watching it from the sideline.
How
It's
it's
gonna be
evolving.
hilarious.
Hey, well, you're going to be next.
I want to be next for something, folks, but yeah, we'll see what that.
What are you gonna do? Like, I think Ian and I were talking about this. We were thinking like after the Korean competition, you two should do something. Maybe like Italian or Portuguese or something like that.
No me importa,
Yeah. Italian might be down the pipeline for sure. Like, but I don't know about you, man. Like, all my free time, what is it, June 8th today? Like, pretty much every waking moment of my free time right now, I'm pouring into Hangugo. Like, just giving her as much as I can.
So tell us about it.
Well, okay, let's just remind the listener, I know we talked about it in episode 4. So let's just remind everyone when and how exactly this challenge came about. Because it kind of started off, from my recollection, as an amusing idea of two polyglot guys, me and Kodo, and just thinking, hey, it's come to like the two Koreas, like the culture, the history, it's a lot to it. So for me, it was just a language that, it was always in my scope anyway, but I think to be taking it on in this particular fashion. So from what I can recall, I only knew the alphabet back in April. Like when I was home in Lloydminster for a month and dabbling in a bunch of languages. The extent of my Korean dabbling was the alphabet. So when exactly because I think you came up with the idea of us both learning it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when did you...
Before the podcast.
Before, I think, our podcast.
Before the podcast.
Became an idea.
That's right.
And here we are in episode 4 now. 4 in. But, okay, when was the first time you cracked a Korean book? You remember?
May 4th. I remember the specific
Star Wars Day. Wow.
Yeah, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. That's right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
¿Por qué? Cuéntanos, güey.
Well, so I had this kind of epiphany just with the lockdown and everything. I was like, okay, like I got all this free time, and I was focusing on improving my French. Like that's where my language goals were at, and I was just thinking about all this free time I had, and like I remember I was reading a book in French, and I was like, oh my god, like I understand a lot of this. And like I remember just like thinking back to my conversations I'd been having with French people, I was like, hey, like I'm not bad. Like I'm definitely not like an advanced speaker, I would say, but like I can hold my own in a conversation. And I was just thinking about it. I was like, okay, I've got all this free time. Like why don't I just use it to start learning Korean? Because Korean had always been it was always in my sights. Mm-hmm. Like it was always the next language I was going to learn.
Right.
And I just figured like, well, why don't I just do it now? Because it's a great opportunity to do it with all this time, right? Oh, and yeah. When I started on May 4th, I did not know anything. I knew zero Korean. I'm lying. I knew like 3 words. I knew annyeong, like hi,
annyeong,
and 감사합니다.
Right.
Thank you. And that was it. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know the alphabet.
The alphabet.
Yeah, nothing. So I've started completely from scratch.
So Cody, if I understand you correctly, you got a little bit bored there by just going at French for a little bit?
A little bit, because, and I'm so glad I decided to jump into Korean, because I remember I was telling you guys, I had that initial like beginner's high. Mm-hmm. When you first start learning a new language, and it's just, you get like this euphoric feeling.
Yeah,
like, absolutely. Oh, like this is so new, and you're making progress every day, and you're learning new things every year. You're seeing your improvement every day. And I just thought that was a feeling that I haven't experienced since I started learning Chinese, and that was like 5 years ago, I think. Like that's when we were hanging out.
Damn. yeah. First time I
so I hadn't had that feeling of a new language in 5 years.
So that's kind of an interesting point you made there. So learning a language is not linear. Obviously, it's not linear. But you make the most progress in the beginning.
You make a lot of progress in the beginning if you're being consistent.
Yes.
But yeah, exactly. But I feel like in the beginning, you're making your slope is much higher than it kind of plateaus out after a while.
Plateaus. And people, because in language learning, people talk about different plateaus. There's a big one, like the intermediate plateau.
Oh, that's the biggest one.
Yeah, probably
like,
the intermediate plateau.
You're really getting from that A2 into that B1. Like that could be a really long valley, but when you're just off the start,
maybe you're not in the super exponential region in the beginning. It takes you a little while to get into the intermediate exponential zone, right?
Wait a minute. I think we're talking about different plateaus. The plateau I was thinking of was like from B2 to C1.
That's a higher plateau. I
think that is the worst one to be in, because it's so hard to notice when you're getting to the next level at that point.
Yeah, but
I don't know, man.
Back to that initial high one, like it's cool because you're like, May 3rd didn't know nothing, but then I don't know, maybe by like May 10th, May 8th or whatever, you maybe be like, I know 100 phrases by now or methods, because like it just seems like wow, I went from 0 to 100. Like 100 phrases, it's not a lot in a language, arguably, but it's enough. Your feet are getting wet, and you're gonna get deeper and deeper. Every day you go.
And I mean, like, you saw that page that I had, like all those phrases that I had written down. Like that's after 6 weeks.
Right.
Like that's to me that's pretty incredible, because like 6 weeks ago I knew absolutely no Korean, and now I can hold like a basic conversation. Like I'm gonna make lots of mistakes.
We'll see. We're gonna hold you. We're gonna hold you accountable, man, on Friday. So we'll see some big words coming out of Mr. Cody.
I'm gonna make lots of mistakes. Ian's gonna make lots of mistakes too. But
it's gonna be hilarious.
We'll be able to say more than you. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I'm not.
He's our...
So can we just say, because I expressed before on the podcast, I expressed myself that I was hoping to get someone completely random to adjudicate this whole thing. So who do we got first of all? Who do we got?
Because I don't know this either.
Okay, well we have a friend of mine. Her name is Jen, and she has she's agreed to be the ref for us.
Moderate.
So,
ref.
Friday. She's gonna be there.
And do you know her well?
No, I just met her recently.
You just met her,
yeah,
so
yeah.
There's no bias there. Like you guys don't have a history or anything.
No.
I think it's just gonna be amazing because I'm always interpret. What do native speakers think of? Because I don't know how like let's say our Latino friends like Jose and Alejandro, maybe they're used shout-outs be on the pod eventually. Like you think by now they're used to like meeting quite a few non-native Spanish learners. Like I'm just curious, like how often a Korean would meet a non-Korean speaker, like the way less.
Because I mean, like everyone learns Spanish, right?
It's way more popular as a second.
Who learns Korean?
There's a few though, because as I'm beginning this Korean, there's an online Korean community which we can talk about that's growing. But there's someone from Calgary, for example, where we live.
Yeah,
how often has she heard a non-Korean speak Korean?
More than you would think, because
really? Okay,
there's a group called the Korean Conversation Club here in Calgary.
Nice.
And 2 Koreans that I've met here have both like attended that at some point or another. So
yeah.
Sí, pero son coreanos, güey. ¿Qué tal Canadians? Or like for Canadians, you know?
Yeah, like it's usually about half like Korean people and half Canadians or other people who are learning Korean. Yeah.
Okay, so she'll have some experience then, like hearing. Yeah, that's what I'm interested in, and just getting some live feedback.
But the point I was trying to make is that I'm very happy that it's someone semi-random at least.
Yeah,
sure, yeah.
It's not like our friend. That would be boring.
Yeah,
yeah,
It'd be kind of boring. But so we'll get
surprises on both sides.
It'll be a really funny reaction. I think she'll have a really funny reaction.
Yeah,
that's what I think. So I'm pumped. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a pretty big
deal.
It's
all Korean. It's just like getting these flags right now for the YouTube watcher. Like I love. Like I think I was telling these guys, like it's more than just the language for me. Like when you're really diving in to this, like I've been, because like I like Korea itself, like the history of Korea, both Koreas, and then now, because like I was telling you, like for my study breaks, I'll go watch K-pop, I'll go watch some Netflix in Korean. So I feel like with a language learning, you can stay wrapped in a environment even when you're not like 100% like focused on, how do I say this in the language. You can still be having this like, and it's not even necessarily to like be learning the language. It's just to be like keeping tabs with it, be keeping in touch with it.
So
the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
So where would you say you're at right now? Because so when I learned French, for the people that don't know, I've been studying French since September last year.
September.
And I'm at the September. And I'm at the point where if I watch a YouTube video, like any YouTube video basically, and like a news clip or anything, I understand 90% of what's going on. Maybe not 90, but 80. Like I definitely understand the context.
You're even past the gist.
100%. But I'm still like my French speaking abilities is not great, but my listening comprehension is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So where are you at right now? Where are you guys at right now in terms of just listening comprehension? Because listening comprehension is the easiest, right? Always.
With Korean?
With anything.
No, I'm saying
like right now, where you at right now with, so like if you mentioned YouTube and Netflix, so let's say you go on YouTube, you watch a YouTube video in Korean, like an easy one, you know, like it could either be like a news clip or it could be like some YouTuber. How much do you understand?
Low,
very low. So we're still there.
But
it's also
what I want to do with this is showing that rawness still of a beginner language learner.
Yeah.
As stoked as I am, Kodo, I think I've made pretty cool strides, some fun progression this first one. It's still going to be raw. It's still going to be like, I want to be on camera, on microphone, showing the agony of like what some of these beginner sessions look like. Because I think that's kind of
fun. Yeah.
It's a little torturous.
We're going to
when you're just like digging for because the problem with it's like getting your reps in, right? Like, because I swear I can already predict it already. Something's gonna come up on Friday that I'm either gonna hear from Cody or what's her name? Jen. Okay. Kamsahamnida. Jen. I'm gonna hear from them and I'll be like, okay, I know that, or like, and I'll be like, I know I've heard that, but I just right now it's not. I don't know if it's the pressure right now because we're doing a podcast. This is live. Like, you know that you've seen something and you maybe studied before, but it's not quite all the way ingrained in you automatically. So you're just gonna be digging. It's gonna like a lot of like just grimaces in the face. Because to me, like if I listen, I recorded my 30 hours of learning Ukrainian with a tutor, and there's a lot of like like it's like physical.
It is.
But you guys could have some equations memorized. By equations, I mean like, you know, in Spanish or in French, it's like, okay, if you use voy a and then an infinitive form of a verb.
No.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Like stuff like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. It's when you want to even like stretch out further than what you might be capable of in the moment. Because I like, we can talk about, because I've been using a few set resources now that I've really honed in on and just been like repping those hard. Like Talk to Me in Korean specifically would be like
they're
really my main one.
So repetition.
Like I can go through all my level 1 flashcards of the Talk to Me in Korean level 1 in about an hour now with the audio.
You know what though? To answer your previous question, I think honestly my listening right now for Korean is the worst.
No mom.
Which is really surprising for me because usually my listening is the best, but I don't know what it is. There's something about listening to people speak in Korean and like half the time I'm just like.
Yeah. So what's the easiest?
I would say for me at this point, reading.
Really?
Actually, yeah, because I've really gotten.
Are you joking? No. With the alphabet and everything?
Yeah, even with
the freaking symbols.
Okay, talk to me about your experience, because it is getting easier for me, specifically like certain like. A big common thing in Korean is like nida, yeyo, eyo, isoyo. So you start seeing those letters together enough, your brain starts to identify it. It's like you sent me a text on WhatsApp today, and I had to like this latter part of it I didn't have to like think too long. It's like an ayo, but the first part still I really had to like. Especially when there's like 4 symbols still jammed together sometimes. It still drives me a little nuts. But how is improving? How is reading your forte right now?
I've just been, like, every resource I've been using, almost every resource, except for, like, listening to the podcast, like, there's reading involved. And I haven't been looking at the romanizations. I've only been looking at Hangul. And it's really helped my reading so far. And I would say, like, my speaking and my writing are probably on par with each other right now, and then my writing is down there because I haven't had much practice writing. But today, it looks like I have pretty neat writing. No. I think what's really helped me with that is just like the practice with writing Chinese characters. I think it's really helped with being able.
I wanted to ask you that too, because this for me this is the first deep dive into an Asian language. So I wanted to ask you. So you think writing would be like, how has Mandarin helped you in this challenge that we're embarking
on? By far, it's been the vocabulary.
Oh wow! Okay,
yeah,
that's
because about I think it's about half the words in Korean come from Chinese.
Wow!
It's
that's
similar.
crazy.
It's similar with
cool.
English. About half of the words in English
come from
French and Latin.
Yeah.
And,
wow!
But the reason it's so much though is not because it's a lot of the everyday most commonly used words don't come from. It's all the big technical words. That's what makes up the vast majority of the fact that so many of them come from there. But there's also some very simple and like everyday used words that I've seen that come directly from Chinese. Like I instantly pick up on them. It has been so helpful.
So guys, a couple fun facts here. Korean is one of the official languages of China.
What?
Yeah. They obviously regions or whatever, but still, it says official language in North Korea, South Korea, and China, parts of China. But it's still an official. It's like Quebec here is like French, so French is
would that be like Manchuria? of China?
Well, there's Manchuria
Yanbian.
is like an old kind of classification
Okay,
of northeastern
Do you
China.
know-
Now it's made up of 3 provinces.
Okay.
There's Heilongjiang, Liaoning, and what's the other one called? Jilin.
Okay.
Those are the 3 provinces in northeast China, and I would guess it's probably Jilin and Liaodong. Did I say Liaodong?
Yeah, no. I think it's because, like, we're gonna like North Korea, and so like, that's a pretty interesting border. Isn't there a river that separates
The
China?
Yalu.
The Yalu.
Yeah,
River,
classic.
Right? So,
On YouTube. People watch. Yeah, there's tourism of people just going to the border and then standing there with their binoculars and they're just looking across the river. But one more thing that I thought was interesting, it's a recognized minority language in Russia as well.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Siberia.
Well, because I don't know if you've been reading about the history of Korea at all, but like historically, the
That's where they
Korean
speak it.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, okay. But historically, the Korean people used to inhabit like Manchuria, like you said, and parts of south. What would that be? Southeastern,
Siberia?
southeastern Russia.
Way east.
Throughout time, they've been pushed into the
Right, because it's
Peninsula.
like, because you look at a map, it's like, okay, here's Russia on top, here's China, and it's like Korea is squeezed, and even physically, like per population per capita of Koreans in their country, like it's way more on top.
Isn't South
Like,
Korea the most densely populated?
It's very dense,
country?
super
Yeah.
dense. Yeah, highly dense. Like I remember even students, because I taught 3 summer camps to Korean students, and they just get blown away by like the space here on the prairies. It's just like mind-boggling for them. It would just take so. But even people from Toronto actually say that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like especially from somebody from like highly dense country, yeah. Like I think Pimsleur has these little cultural facts on their app now, and something about it was like 5 tribes at one point too, and.
Yeah, they all
tribes.
came together at one point and mixed into what the current Korean
Makes
race
up
is, right?
current
Yeah.
Koreans. Yeah, and like I've only touched on this a bit. Actually, there's a podcast I want to give a shout out to right now that I just got into called Speaking Tongues. Cool podcast. I discovered in episode 9 is all about Korean, and she's interviewing a Korean. I don't know enough. Yeah, no, but even like differences obviously between South Korean Korean and North Korean Korean, because obviously the separation that's happened there for a long time. But Markus, what are you finding?
So I'm googling how similar are North and
Yeah,
South
that's a good
Korean
question.
languages.
Yeah, that's intriguing. I heard the big difference is vocab.
Yeah, I could see that.
How they would say things, right? If you think about influences.
Como en Latinoamérica, güey.
Yeah, but like each language definitely has its difference. But so what's excited you the most? Like when you, because for me, I don't know, it's been really intriguing doing these SOV languages, and I think it's been cool how you like can add things to them and just add that verb at the end. I feel like my brain's doing something it's never done before.
I know, I'm getting so used to it too.
Okay, yeah, like, because it's not like I think when we were cooking supper, asking like what's the most difficult thing so far, and there's definitely things that are easy. Like a question is very easy in Korean. It's just voice intonation.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've been doing and that I recommend that everyone should do when they first start learning a new language is instead of like just thinking of how to say something all the time, just look at what people are saying. Just absorb the material. Just don't overthink everything. Don't always wonder like, oh, how do I say this? How do I say this? Because if you're always thinking of how to say something, like you're just gonna end up literally translating things, and it's gonna sound really choppy and bad. So just absorb as much as you can. Watch for the patterns, and then your brain will just automatically start using that.
Into things.
And I think that's why I've been so good at not making mistakes with that particular pattern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how's the grammar?
It's not bad.
It's not bad?
Not too bad. It's like Markus. What are you drinking? Bubbly? Markus bubbly drinks, right?
Oh, okay. And how does that compare to Mandarin?
Chinese grammar is not bad. it's also pretty easy.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's still SVO. Right?
Yeah, it's the same word order as English. Yeah.
So how would you guys compare learning Korean to learning a Romance language, for example?
It's harder.
I think.
Yeah, but how harder?
And we made a good point the other night when we had our German group movie night. We were talking with Colton how you can't guess.
Yeah,
That's a very intriguing point. Because like you
Oh.
can't, in some like even in German right now,
You can guess
I
all
will
that.
guess. I'll kind of like throw out a word.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I wasn't right, but maybe I was close. Maybe. Like in a language that's so far from your own mother tongue, like native, like English, it's like. But maybe for you it might be different because you talked about that Mandarin.
Yeah, so I
influence.
kind of have an unfair advantage. But like if you're just
fine.
learning from English, then yeah, you can't guess. The only thing
There's a few like copy, like
Yeah,
coffee.
the only
There's
thing
a
is,
few
like-
obvious cognates.
like imported and modern words will usually
imported.
come from English or a different. I saw this was really interesting in one of the lessons I did. Arbeiter.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah,
one?
I told you that.
Again?
Arbeiter. What does that sound like? Sounds like German. I'll give you a hint.
Oh yeah, no way.
So yeah, it comes from Arbeit,
Arbeit.
and in
What's
Korean
that?
it means part-time work.
Oh, interesting.
So if you say Arbeiter
yeah.
soyo, that's like I have a part-time job.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that obviously would have came from German.
Yes.
some
That's
way.
that blew my mind, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy, eh?
Who brought that over?
It's
What do you think?
interesting. But no,
Who's a
touching
bastard?
on
Brought over
thinking,
German.
if you want to think geographically and linguistically for a second too, my brief ponderings with Polish, you see a lot of German German vocab in Polish way more than even Ukrainian. And if you just think geographically on a map, which one's closer to Germany? Poland.
go, yeah.
Poland, right? Like
Deutschland.
Deutschland.
Bologna, wait.
So it's been the Korean language. So from a personal and cultural perspective, like for me, Korean's been interesting because the Korean people, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this at all, it's something I've just noticed over the years from my very first Spanish class that I ever taught, which was in 2012 at Lloydminster Lakeland College evening class. I had a Korean student in that class actually, and then I've had a few students that I've tutored in Spanish, and then also in all of the Spanish classes I've taught in high school, there's always been like 3 or 4 Korean kids. So I'm really intrigued, and I even sent you guys that Pitbull Monsta X song last night. So kind of like, we all know Spanish, Latino, reggaeton, cultura, así, but there's an intriguing Latino Korean connection.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. And I swear it's just not a coincidence that this first little class I was speaking in Korean, teaching Spanish, and there was a Korean. She worked at, her family owned one of the convenience stores in Lloydminster. She was pretty young at the time, maybe like 19, 20, and she was in my Spanish class just learning. And then like one lady that I tutored for 2.5 years in Edmonton, a Korean lady, super intrigued.
Okay, so what's the link?
Spanish. I don't like.
Where's the
I don't know.
connection?
It's something. Okay, I think I have a theory. I want to ask Jen, because there's something about the coolness of reggaeton or like Hispanic culture with what I'm thinking to start might be even like cooler and flashier and brighter and like lots more, which is like K-pop culture. But there was so on Twitter, I'm running our Twitter account. There's a K-pop star. He wrote the simplest words like "Cómo estás" the other day, and got like 40,000 likes on it and stuff. So it's like Korea's flirting with Spanish, and it's just continuing. And there's apparently, I've been looking up, like there's K-pop songs in Japanese, Mandarin, but there's an intriguing Spanish-Korea connection.
Wait,
So-
I have a question now. I
Yeah.
thought K-pop was pop from Korea, but you're saying there's K-pop in Japanese?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's called J.
No, yes, it's technically
That's what I'm
J-pop.
saying. Yeah, then it's J.
It's
that's
technically
just pop
J-pop,
from
but no,
Japan.
sorry. There's Koreans singing in Japanese, singing in Mandarin.
Yeah.
Like I think J-pop's Japanese people singing pop music.
Yeah.
So there's like these linguistic flirtations, I'd call them, in K-pop. But the Spanish one, I'm just starting to notice it more and more. And there's something, I don't know, it's something about, there's that fancy word, like prosody, like the sound of a language. I think there's something about the sounds of Korean, the sounds of Spanish that Korean people really like. Yeah, Luca Lampriello talked about it in no.
Not porosity. That's physics for you. That's geochemical engineering.
What does that word mean?
Porosity.
Patterns of rhythm and sound used in poetry.
We're expanding our vocabulary here, bud.
Yeah, I was thinking this with the sounds, but I think there's like a cultural
Porosity
style connection. Maybe some listeners right now can attest to this more.
Yeah.
So, but it's something I've noticed, and I'm intrigued by it. So, because even there's a song on my Korean pop list right now. It's called "Me Gustas Tu," by G-Friend. Yeah, "Me Gustas," and that's a K-pop group, and they throw in English. Like lots of K-pops in English.
Well, so something that's interesting is that K-pop and reggaeton or música latina por lo general are very influential. They're
huge, man.
They're globally influential.
They're very widely accessible.
Oh yeah,
to a very large audience.
But like what I said before, here at the University of Calgary, I was here last year, and there was this concert at on campus. And the line was crazy. The line wrapped around like 3-4 different buildings.
That was a K-pop concert.
Yeah, like thousands of people. And I walked up there and I was like, "Hey, what's going on here? Like, who's the artist or whatever? What's the concert?" And they're like, "Oh, there's this K-pop band I've never even heard of." You know, I just thought that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So that's when I kind of realized, hey, this K-pop thing is kind of a big deal.
It's big. Yeah, like musically, and then I don't know. Have you guys seen Parasite yet?
I have not seen it.
But have you heard of it?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
I would like to watch it.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, no, it was pretty fun. Like, because when's the Oscars? It's like the first week of February or something. Like in our school, where I teach, we have a cool international program. We probably have about like 40 Korean kids or so, and yeah, when Parasite won, like we put it on the announcements and everything, like just like congratulate you, like because that was pretty cool. And like actually that director maybe we can look that up. Bon Yoon-ho, his name is. Like he's pretty influential. So then as I start to like dig more into it, it's called the Hallyu wave, which is just a fancy way of saying, or the Korean way of saying, like the influence of Bong Joon-ho. Bong Joon-ho, who directed Parasite. So like Korean music is getting big.
Yeah, Korea in general is blowing up.
Movies
up and coming
big.
What do you think, Cody?
Yeah.
So yeah, so like when you were in Asia, like did you meet any Koreans or like?
Yeah, did they get over?
Or how?
Did they get over to China or okay?
Not really.
Okay.
No? Why not?
Curious about the relations.
I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
Oh, we'll have them here.
That'll be like we have a bunch. We're loaded with questions.
When I was in China, here I'll tell you the makeup of the foreigners.
That's interesting.
In China, was so strange.
Explícanos.
I mean, in the big international cities like Beijing or Shanghai, like obviously it's different. Like people from all over the world there, but in the city that I was in, Yangzhou, it's a smaller city. Only 4 million people live there.
That seems pretty petite for China.
But for China, like it's like it's not internationally well known, so there's not very many foreigners there. And I swear to God, this is the type of foreigners that were there. There were English teachers from English-speaking countries, so like America, Britain, Canada, Australia, whatever.
Yeah.
And then there were Russian bodybuilders. And then there were
why?
They worked in the clubs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then there were medical students from Africa and South Asia. like India, Bangladesh, countries like
Because
that.
the med schools there are pretty good, or?
Yeah. And those are the only foreigners you would
Right.
see in the smaller cities in China. It was so weird.
Right.
That is strange, man.
Yeah.
It's not like a backpacker crowd. Or
No,
like hostels
So-
or
No Japanese
Transients.
people, no Koreans.
I don't think I met a single Japanese or Korean person in Yangzhou.
But the relations over there are pretty strained, hey?
Well, what do you
No?
mean?
Yeah, between China and those other countries.
Oh, like between the countries.
La gente.
Yeah. Lots of Chinese people don't really like Japan because of
that's
because of the history there.
Korea, it's not too different.
Yeah,
of a
Korea
story.
doesn't really like Japan either. But it's if you watch a lot of the TV shows in China, like if you're just flipping through the TV, I swear like every fourth or fifth channel is like some movie like where the Red Army's like fighting the Japanese. It's crazy.
Really? So what about Korea versus Japan? Like Korea and Japan, how do they get along?
Well, that's another history.
Yeah,
Like colonization, right? Of
Yeah, because
Japan ruled over
Because-
Korea.
yeah, that was recent, right?
Well, define
to
recent.
World War
Yeah,
II.
20th century.
Yes,
Yeah, definitely.
all the way up until 1945.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So how's that relationship now?
I mean, like I would
A
say
little
young
awkward?
people don't really care,
Yeah.
but like
That's a
a
different
lot of the
attitude.
older people, like that memory is like
That's
it's
still-
still
it's
within
like-
living memory, right?
Oh, those damn Japanese.
Yeah.
That's interesting though. Yeah, those
But, like, dude, there's a reason we have two flags behind us right now.
Yeah, that's
Korea
right.
itself is separated. And, like, I'm a Cold War buff, right? You talk about, like, divided camps. So you want to, like, still, like, look at a place in the world where it's that Cold War, I would argue, hasn't ended completely.
not
No,
there.
Korea,
no.
Korea.
Not there. It's very much
And,
alive,
and
man.
like, okay, I have a bone to pick with the name DMZ. Demilitarized zone, where here it's like the most militarized zone on the planet. There's like 2 million troops. I don't know if that's all sides included or each side.
we gotta Google
I
it.
think
Maybe we
that-
should double check, but like
I think
it's still cold. It's still super cold, and
yeah.
like, but you see some collaboration, like like in the Olympics, they have Korea teams. if I'm
I
not
know, I
mistaken.
saw that, man.
Like the Canadian, or no, sorry, not the women's hockey team. It was a
combined. I saw the logo. It
Yeah.
was like
Right.
a white flag with the
Oh, that's
blue.
that's
Yes.
the logo we should have
the
right
blue
now.
combined.
Yeah, that's
peninsula.
nice. I like that. But never mind Korea though. Like, what about like the new Cold War between America and China? Like,
Well, yeah, no,
that's flaring.
I know.
That's been flaring up. For the
When I
past-
got-
Yeah, you're
Probably.
getting. Yeah, I'm just focusing on
Yeah, we got
Korea, but you're correct.
Yeah, but it's very much alive there.
Shifts
There's
of
not
power.
troops between. There's no troops between the U.S.
Yeah, that's true.
Just another thing for a poli sci history nerd, like to watch those parades in North Korea and the marching, like the military parades. I think it's fascinating.
I've watched those as
fascinating
well.
YouTube
So
watching.
I
I
do
could
that-
spend hours doing.
You can
that.
watch a couple. The Russia one is pretty good as well. The
Which
China,
ones?
the Russia, and the North Korean military parades are pretty good. Just
Oh yeah, no.
throw
I
that
know.
in a Google and watch that. That's
But like
pretty
the
interesting.
changing, like when the crowds in North Korea all have like the same placards and colors, and all of a sudden
yeah.
they switch all of a sudden, like
Yeah.
the choreography of, like I won't get into like how you would politically define North Korea as a state. I'm just talking from a purely visual, aesthetic level of like whoa, like Koreans. I think on both sides, like bright colors, fashion. I'm watching the Netflix show right now called Crash Landing on You, where this rich billionaire Korean, like her parachute blows away and she lands in North Korea. So it's kind of fascinating. So you're like looking at the different classes, but just the colors of Korea. And I think it's somewhere, we can look this up after too, like they have like roses, like a really iconic rose in Korea as well.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, and my student I tutored before always talked about.
You know what I do a
roses.
lot? I go on. There's a bunch of YouTube videos of people traveling to North Korea,
Oh, okay.
and then they have like vlogs and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just
Fascinating.
it's such a hassle to get in there.
Oh,
Such
yeah.
a hassle.
Yeah, you just
Well,
can't
it's-
book a flight to Pyongyang.
No, you can't. You gotta fly. You gotta fly to Beijing, and then after that, you have to take the train to North Korea from Beijing.
that's one way.
What?
Yeah.
No.
No, sirve. No.
I've seen people flying into North Korea.
So why is there a thing like every single person on YouTube takes the train?
You've been watching the wrong videos.
Are you sure?
Yes, I've seen plenty of YouTube videos of people flying into.
I think there's both ways. Like
From what countries?
From Beijing.
Yeah, but are they Chinese?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. No lo sabía, güey.
Well, now you know.
place.
I thought you can only take the train. I thought that's what was so bad. Like, imagine only being able to take the
No,
train
you
into
can't
Canada. Like, there was this one train line from New York City to Ottawa that you had to take to get into Canada.
So, pause on it. Future languages, I think Russia, is that on both of your guys'?
Yes,
Want to learn one day list?
Russia is up
the
there.
Trans-Siberian Highway, like the one that it spans all 12 time zones of Siberia. And newsflash, my buddy Lee hooking me up with this info. So apparently it's starting in Kiev soon, the capital of Ukraine, the Trans-Siberian. So you can go all the way from like Kiev going eastward to, I don't know where it ends.
Vladivostok?
Through Mongolia, through...
Guys, you can. I'm pretty sure you can take it down to Beijing now.
Oh yeah, I know. Like if you look up a map.
But you go through Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, probably.
Do you go through Kazakhstan? I'm actually not sure now.
Roads.
But you do 100% go through Mongolia. You go through Ulaanbaatar,
Oh my god.
the capital of
Markus.
Mongolia, and then you go into Russia again. And I'm pretty sure.
How do you say Mongolia's capital again?
in Mexicano es Ulaanbaatar.
and Mexicano.
No sé cómo. I don't know how to pronounce it in.
You know what's cool with some of these Asian languages too, like Mongolian.
Ulaanbaatar.
Ulaanbaatar,
Sorry,
wait.
folks. Sorry, I totally messed up that.
Ulaanbaatar.
pronunciation.
You know what's interesting?
Ulaanbaatar. Ulaanbaatar. Ulaanbaatar.
Mongolian and Uzbek, there might be more, use Cyrillic as their alphabet, even though it's like a Asian language. I was like, oh man, that's so cool too. But yeah, the Trans-Siberian Highway, I think, would be like, look how many languages you. Oh, we're looking at the map right now.
Okay,
folks.
vamos, güey.
And
Look at this.
see, there's a few different lines.
Yeah.
But see, apparently that might be an old map because now apparently you can start in Ukraine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can go to Beijing as well, but you can definitely go to China. Because I remember I was reading some travel guide, and so if you do the whole thing, you have to get visas for like 6 different countries, whatever.
Right. But it'd be wild.
But definitely
That's a bucket list item for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for sure. I mean, yeah. How long does it take? A couple days.
It's one of those. There's a few of these epic travels. Have you guys heard of Kodo's un momentito? Markus, I think I was talking with you or Kodo.
¿Qué pasa, güey?
Camino de Santiago in Spain.
España, güey. Yeah.
The pilgrimage trail.
Yeah.
Where I think it's if you hike 25 kilometers a day, roughly, like you can traverse the entire northern Spain. So you can go through like Basque country. Like you basically start in France and then cut across all of northern Spain to end up at this there's the name of the church where the pilgrimage ends out west. And I think it'd be a fascinating Spanish, maybe even dip into some Basque, Caixo. It's hello in Basque. That's the only I know.
Yeah, these different things.
Yeah, like, so with adventure with language learning, like, maybe there's like these cool epic. So imagine how cool that would be if you could speak Spanish and a bit of Basque and go do that trail, or speak Russian and Mandarin and go do the
Yeah, that'd be the ultimate.
So it's just like how language could be like just a wickedest travel tool.
So what I have, my personal rule is that I don't go anywhere unless I speak the language.
I have the
That's
same
a cool rule.
Well, I mean, I've broken that, but that's
I don't break
due
it
to
anymore.
extraneous circumstances.
I don't break it.
I plan on being the same. Yeah.
I don't break it. But here's the thing. I'm a little loose on the definition of being able to speak it. As long as I'm there and I'm like at least trying, whatever.
Try it, yeah.
Like, I could go to South Korea. I could go to Seoul, and I could, just with studying or having your ability to speak Korean, I can go around there and just have fun with it. As long as you're able to throw around some phrases.
Throw in some phrases. Yeah, seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely. Koda, you taught English in China. Would you ever teach it in Korean? in Korea. You'll be able to know what all the students are saying here.
Do you English?
Oh, and then also I want to ask you about your future plans with Korean once this challenge is done.
Yeah, okay. So... No. I it's not that I wouldn't want to go teach English in Korea specifically. It's just that I don't want to teach English abroad in general anymore.
Why not?
Like I like it here in Canada, and I think when I went to China, like I think what I was expecting and what I wanted was to travel abroad and go abroad, not live abroad. And although I had an amazing 2 years in China, I don't regret it one bit, but I don't want to live abroad for the rest of my life. I definitely like it here in Canada. And so yeah, that's your answer for that.
Yeah.
And in terms of what I want to do with Korean after
Okay, just before we talk about that.
Yeah,
like,
sure. Yeah.
Because the reason I ask, like the English school that I taught at in Edmonton, so 3 of the teachers there, guess how long each of them taught in Korea?
A year.
Higher.
3.
5.
Longer. I'm talking, okay, my boss specifically.
And they're Canadian? Both of them are Canadian?
All of them are Canadian.
8.
Okay, almost. 7.
That's a long
7
time.
years teaching English in Korea.
That's a long time to be an
It's
English
a long
teacher.
time, but there was something about Korea all of them got hooked on. And it was 7 years. Like, yeah, when I met them, they were obviously back in Edmonton. My boss, Julio, started up his English school there. But it wasn't just like a short stint. It was like they really like got into it. Like, yeah, 7 years. Because I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it's something about the quality of life there, the people, working conditions. And I've never taught English abroad. Like, I've just taught it in Edmonton. But I always found that intriguing because that's like not just a year. Like, you know, people do gap years or people do, like, obviously every individual has their own circumstances, but I was like, whoa, 7 years.
Yeah,
like,
that's a lot.
That's a huge percentage of your life.
Yeah.
Chunk, but
So they obviously spoke Korean really, really
no,
well.
no, my buddy,
no.
no, I mean, because I think expat bubbles exist.
Yeah.
In countries. Like, my buddy in Ukraine talks about these too, like people that live in countries. I think we touched about this
we talked
on
about
episode
this.
2 a bit.
Did we?
Yeah, just how some
Yeah, maybe we
people,
did.
some people can be, some people can be in a place a really long time, but regardless, 7 years, like something kept you. Cause I'm sure they came back during Christmases and holidays here and there, but it's like, hey, I'm getting on the plane
But they
back
obviously,
to Korea.
they obviously spoke. They spoke.
Yeah, they had to-
obviously spoke some Korean.
Yeah, they had to. Yeah, I'm sure 7 years. Yeah, how can you not speak a
how
little
can you
bit?
not?
But
away.
well, no, my buddy Michael, he could riff a bit in it. It had been a few years since he had been there, but he could do some. So one of the 3 could do something. But I just found it fascinating how, like, even they picked up some side jobs in Korea too, like being a DJ and stuff. So, like, just like, yeah, being an English teacher could be one thing, but it was Korean specifically, because other English teachers, I don't know if anyone stayed that long. So that's just something I thought with teaching, because I've thought about it, even if in terms of like a sabbatical year, because damn, Korea just looks so cool right now.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you can do that. I'd
So,
be down. Go to Gangnam.
Gangnam. So that gets us into like the future of why we're doing this, because I'm definitely not just doing this for a one-off thing and like, all right, I had my Korean battle with Cody. Let's put the Korean book on the shelf.
You're gonna wash up on that beach real quick, bud.
yeah,
quick.
Lydia's Beach.
Yeah.
Shout out Polyglot Gathering still. I don't know, man. I'm like hooked on it now, in a way. Like, I gotta get back to my German because
Deutsch ist
I
sehr
invest
wichtig.
Deutsch. Yeah, put a lot into that earlier this calendar year. But yeah, I talk about having the free time right now with the reduced work schedule. Like, it's definitely something I'm gonna keep going. So
Hey, learn those languages, man.
Yeah. So
Keep
like,
at
what
it.
do you think, Coda? Are you gonna put it into your like your lineup? Because I know you've talked about maintenance with languages.
Yes.
So how are you gonna put in your rotation?
Well, I mean, it's one of the languages that I want to speak really well, and after Korean, I want to do Japanese as well, because like I mentioned, I've got a particular interest in East Asia, just with like all the martial arts and the history and the culture of the area. I find it all extremely fascinating. So for me, the holy trinity of Korean, Japanese, Chinese.
I think that's a cool trinity.
I'm very interested in that. So
very cool.
That'd be insane, man.
Do all three of those.
That'd be insane. But here's the thing: you're gonna have to go there, man.
Yeah, dude, I want to go there. Here, let me make that distinction.
But not just go there for like a couple of days on vacation. You're gonna have to go there.
Yes, I know. Eventually in the future, I plan on taking like month stints where I just go and like either take part in some kind of like a language program or I just go travel there. Like that's what I want. Don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't want to travel anymore. Like I just don't want to live abroad anymore. But I want to travel, for the rest of my life. Lots of traveling, all over the place.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go back there, man. Because if you're gonna,
I can't wait to go to Korea. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And I was watching this documentary earlier today, like K-pop. What was it called? K-pop, Korea's secret weapon? ? Was the name, and how like K-pop is a main way that they're promoting Korea to the world. And then I'm into podcasts, so I like start scrolling through some K-pop podcasts, and lots of it's like fan ones. They're talking about BTS.
In what language?
In English. It's a massive English audience. But some of these podcasts, I wouldn't call them like anywhere hardcore polyglots or language. Like they just have a few select episodes about learning Korean specifically for like K-pop fans. So I think it's interesting because it's like casual learners that it's like, hey, like K-pop can kind of be your gateway into learning Korean.
Well, that's how it works for people, right?
Yeah, no,
they
of course, because it's very
gateway.
casual. Like those listeners aren't probably listening to Lingoholics or Actual Fluency or any of the big language podcasts. They're just listening to their K-pop.
Any of the big ones, you know.
Yeah.
Lingoholics.
Yeah. 4 episodes in. Confidence, folks. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to have. So that's cool, man. But I don't know. Asia, like Marcus, what are your thoughts on going somewhere in Asia?
That's why I'm not there.
Because there's
man.
a lot.
You've never been big on Asia.
I'm too young, man. I'm not there yet.
Young Padawan.
I have too much.
Yeah.
Like my goal is to go through every single country in Latin America first. I want to go every single one.
Total.
You're obsessed with Latin America.
Brazil, including Brazil. So I'm definitely prioritizing my Portuguese over my Asian languages for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm there. Maybe.
Okay, let's say.
Maybe when I'm like
gun to your head, you have to pick one Asian country to go to and learn the language. What do you learn?
South Korea.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Easy.
No, it's because it's such a big
South
continent,
Korea,
right?
easy.
Like my one buddy Josh, he's learning Indonesian. Did we talk a little about Tagalog the other day?
Yes,
baseball?
we did. Yeah.
Tagalog's always been fascinating.
I know.
Also, if you want to talk about a more Spanish influence on a language, there's a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, like
Tagalog.
People go to Thailand and people
Thailand,
go to Bali.
yeah.
But
Bali.
why would I do that when I can go to Costa Rica,
Costa Rica, Ecuador.
Yeah.
Colombia, way.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And actually, I want to talk about this. It's funny that you brought that up. So I was talking to Ian about this, but Marcus, I want to tell you, and I guess I'll tell our listeners too. I've changed my mind a little bit about being so hardcore on being like a one at a time focuser. Right. And I've opened up to the idea of not necessarily dabbling for the sake of dabbling, but expanding, like not being so perfectionist, like you guys have pointed out. Like I know that's a big problem I have, not just for languages, but for life in general. And I think, I don't want to just like limit it. 10 is the perfect number. Like I need to have it at that. And like, like that's kind of ridiculous. So I've expanded a bit because there definitely are like a list of languages that I would like to be able to speak that's longer than that. But my problem was like, how am I going to maintain them? Like, I might as well just like stick to these ones. But I'm okay with like not being able to speak all of them perfectly.
Right.
But the idea is like I want to be able to just learn a new language for the rest of my life, and I've expanded my list a bit. So
I think Marcus, you talked about this. Your dad telling you how with language learning, you'll never be bored.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're never gonna be bored, folks.
Seriously, like Kodo's list could have 16 our list could have 16, whatever.
Yeah, but
That's
you know,
a
like before I
lifetime
start
on.
on the next one, I want to get over the last break, or I want to get over a good break, like the hard break. You know what I mean? I'm throwing it back to the Lydia Beach analogy because it's so good. I want to get over. I want to get over. I want to get to a certain point where I don't have to maintain it every day. You know?
Yeah.
Like right now, my
exactly.
Spanish and even my German. I've realized this with my German as well. Like German, I can leave it for a couple months, even a year, and then pick it back up again pretty easily.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the point that I want. I want to get to a point where it's eventually self-sustaining. Right?
For sure.
I think self-sustaining is a great point. Because you know what? I'll admit to, like, I don't know if it's perfectionist fear, but okay, I have a fear right now. I have a fear every day if I don't do some Korean, I'm going to lose the last 6 weeks if I miss a day right now. So there is a fear. It's not even, we've talked a little about motivation. We've talked about discipline. It's like a fear. Like, oh my God. If I go 24 hours without doing something, I'm like, it's all gone.
Yeah, but there's definitely some truth there, man. Like,
yeah,
you gotta,
I know.
you gotta get over it.
You know, it is true. You need a ton of reps to, and that's what a lot of this flashcard is like, okay, I know this, but I might not know it. I might forget it in 2 days from now. And like, it's all for naught, all in vain. And so, and that was a big part of I credit a bit of that fear to how because I consider my Spanish my best second language because I've been doing it the longest, but the initial, because I got good in Nicaragua, like I got conversational, like a level I never thought I'd dream of, but then there was like an immediate fear, what if I lost this? What if I like left it for a couple months and I wasn't able to do what I did in Nicaragua 2 months prior? So I was like, música, los libros, televisión.
Todos los días, güey.
Los meetups de Azra and todo. Like, let's do it all. So, I don't know. So yeah, fear maybe. Fear can be okay, folks. Don't give in to fear and keep chugging away.
I can feel your fear.
Feeling the fear. Feeling the fear like a test missile launch going up above. What's happening, folks? So, are you ready for? I'm ready. I'm just ready to let her rip on this language. I want to.
I'm ready.
Korean.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna kick your butt, man.
I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
How many allies is South Korea? Is South Korea part of NATO?
No, it's North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Well, we should add specific to that. Get a little backup. Nah, I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling good. Because even if I say technically lose, I want to like still walk away being like 한국어, 좋아해요, 정말 좋아해요.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. It's been fun. I think we chose the right language to do this in.
Yes.
Because it's been dip diving into like country's history that I've been interested in and language. Like starting to see like lots of these like we talked about reggaeton, K-pop, just like whoa, it's like this hip culture, this really flashy culture. So. And yeah, really, and Markus, you're the viewer, so we want to put on a show for you.
Yeah, man,
dude.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I've been looking forward to this too, guys.
I'm
not gonna lie, I've been looking forward to it.
So
we'll see. Come Friday, man.
Can't
wait. It's a countdown, man.
It's gonna be brutal. It's gonna
Drums of War.
Be ugly and raw and brutal.
Dirty.
Oh, it's
fun.
Dirty.
Don't forget. Fun. Let's.
Dirty.
Yeah, painful fun.
Painful fun.
Yes.
It'll be fun. So stay tuned, folks.
If you're a new language learner, so you kind of see what it can look like, and if you're like lots of these people I've been meeting online. Oh, so just before we kind of wrap this up, show a little TikTok love.
Show a little TikTok love, yeah. So, folks, we're on TikTok now.
We're on TikTok. That's how we're moving up.
Just like the kids, you know?
Yeah.
Just like the kids from
We're
TikTok.
catching up to the kids.
Yeah, damn right.
Hey guys, come on, we're not that old.
So first of all, follow us on Twitter.
We're
pretty big on Twitter already, so we're just getting started on TikTok right now. So
TikTok, Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah.
It's all there. So
that's right.
Joining the ranks because we just like having fun on those. So I'm on the Twitters talking to people and it's been lots of fun.
That's good.
But yeah, 한국어.
All
right, folks.
All right. Wait. 안녕히 가세요?
Oh!
Or are we going?
안녕히.
Are we going or are they going?
안녕히 계세요. We're going.
We're going.
So it's
but if
안녕히-
they were staying, they would say 안녕히 가세요. Because they're staying.
No, 안녕히
going.
가세요 is go
If you're
well.
staying. Right, you say it to the person leaving.
Yeah. But we're leaving, so we
We're
would say
saying
안녕히
안녕히
계세요.
계세요.
Yeah, 안녕히 계세요.
Bye bye, folks. Bye bye.